What up, y'all? Every time I sit there and look at myself when I'm doing these videos, I'm looking fat as shit, man. I mean, damn, man. I don't know. I mean, I gained 40 pounds when I got through that chemo. Went in 140. I just went back for my scans just the other day on the 30th, last Thursday. Matter of fact, a week that day. I got on the scale and it said 190. And I'm like, damn. And then I'm looking at myself. I mean, I know I still look good, but goddamn, I mean, I'm face all fat. I'm sitting here looking all fat and all this. Oh, man, I don't know, y'all. Whew. Let's see what's going on here. All right, look. I'm getting ready to give y'all a review for Greenleaf. First time doing Greenleaf. There's always a whole bunch going on in Greenleaf. I like this show. It's a little bit relatable, at least the church aspect, because I grew up in a black church. I grew up in a big church. Well, at least it was big for Springfield, Ohio, or whatever. But it's a big church back then, and it was very pretentious for black church. It was about what you had on, who went to women who had the biggest hat, who had the highest heels. You had to have at least 5 or 6 inches stilettos coming up in there, and how much money you had, what car you drove. It was no coming in there like it is today. We can come in jeans, or just dress down. It wasn't even like that at all, period. But I can relate to some of the different drama that goes on to this show. So I don't want to sit there and like clump one person and give all the different things that happen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this scene by scene, so that you can watch the show how I seen it. So if I'm taking little breaks because I got little notes or whatever, that's what I'm doing. Because like I said, I'm new to this, so I want y'all to bear with me on that. I'm gonna try to keep it a little lively too. I'm all about telling the story right now, but I gotta make y'all sit there and like me. Yesterday I did the haves and the have-nots. It was my first video actually reviewing something. I got more reviews than I got from my introduction thing, so I thank y'all for that. I thank you for the subscriber that I have. I thank you for the comments. So I appreciate that. But continue to show me some love. Continue to sit there and subscribe to my channel. I'm getting better. So let's get started with the review. Starts off with Gigi. She's sitting there watching something, like news or something on her laptop or doing whatever she was doing. And she's calling her daughter Sophie. And Sophie ain't answering. So she go into her room. Sophie alone. She's sitting there smoking weed. I wouldn't be surprised if she motherfucker just, like a little hungover from hanging with her wild cousin. Was her cousin wild that a motherfucker? But she was hanging with her. I don't know, or maybe she just sleeping in late. But she fell asleep to listening to a CD. So she took her little CD player into the room, and she started listening to it. And I'm not sure yet. I know now because I know the episode. But at the time, I didn't know she was listening to somebody preaching. And I didn't know who it was. And you could tell it was kind of like a kid. I'm thinking it was her when she was younger, because they said that she could preach her ass off when she was younger. So I wasn't sure if that was the case or not. So I'm blessed her. So the daughter comes in and tells her, because her phone was ringing, because she had the earphones in her ear. And so her daughter came and told her phone was ringing or whatever, and I guess it was one of the, her parishioners or whatever wanted her to come to him for whatever reason. She got up and she went ahead and left, so that was the end of that scene. So then we go to the bishop and Lady May. That's his wife. She getting dressed. She flies, I don't know what, but she still got that. This is where I'm sitting there trying to, I relate to this. Because my bishop, who, when I first started going to the church, was a district elder, and his wife, but by the time he became bishop, and his wife, and I'm going to put some dirt out there, and I mean, I don't even know. I mean, was 20 years younger than him. But she was his second wife. Because the first wife passed away. But they was they would be flies, I don't know what. So Lady May reminds me of my bishop's wife. And in a sort, where things had to be her way, and she was gonna make sure things were gonna be running. I mean, what's the name? Even though he was still boss, she was handling her too. I mean, it was about trying to get, because she always talk about, I didn't grow this to where because that's how she feel, and that's how my bishop wife felt. I mean, my pastor now, she's a pastor now, but I mean that's how she felt. They getting ready, and last week's episode. I mean, I didn't review last week. Y'all know this. I'm just getting into the review. Last week, the head of the deacon board, Connie, but bumped heads with the bishop, so she left the church. So Lady May's trying to get the bishop to call her up and apologize and try to get her back. This man Bishop ain't even have it. He's like, no. He said, whatever. We gonna be all right, whatever. So she's trying to convince him to sit there. To sit there and call him, but it ain't even. It's not working. So so then the next thing comes on. All right, y'all. I kind of got a little lost there for a second. So anyway, the next scene is with Kevin and Charity. They're at their ultrasound appointment, making sure the baby is okay, and they standing there. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I didn't get a chance to review this, and I wanted to say it why it's on my mind, because I know about these things, and I peeped this thing from very, very, very jump street. But we gonna get to that part later on. But when Kevin was doing like that little sleepover thing for the kids or whatever, that lock in, and that white other pastor or whatever, that they were like collaborating together, and well, first of all, Kevin, even when he was talking about he wanted to have a baby, there was a reason why Kevin wasn't really trying to have a baby for real. At least I'm sitting there thinking that from off the jump street. And when I'm sitting there seeing old white dude giving him the eye, and I'm like, it don't take no rocket scientist to either white dude. Do something going on. There's a little vibe going on up in this. Between these two, that ain't even supposed to be. I know that they godly people, or whatever. Or they trying to do something godly, but I'm already sitting there peeping what's getting ready to go on, and I ain't liking it. First of all, and I ain't liking it because I don't like that. But number one, I don't like all that mixing of the race. First of all, you gonna come out, Kevin? Come on now. Just don't just flop out there just for anything, man. Come on now, make it worth it. Damn. Maybe it's just me. Just certain things you just. Anyway, they in the hospital. I done went way off track, and I apologize for that, but it was on my mind. But we'll get back to that in a second. So, baby's fine. Got normal heartbeat, and the doctor, as she's doing the ultrasound, she going around, and I'm like, bitch, you knew good and well that you seen something. Oh. He said, something wrong? She was like, no. But it seems like your little friend got another little friend. So Kevin and Charity are having twins. So they're very happy about this. So they were surprised. So now after getting that good news, folks, then we got to go to Jacob and Krista. In all the episodes, I didn't like Krista. I thought she was a bitch. I didn't like her whole attitude. I didn't like her whole. And there was nothing that I even liked about Krista. But I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. My attitude towards Krista has changed, and I understand why she's the bitch that she was being. And maybe that's just part of her character too. But now I'm starting to feel for her a little bit, for real, because Jacob don't have no type of game whatsoever. I mean, he fucking this white girl, and hold on. All right, so Jacob is messing with Alexa, and Krista knows that he's messing with her. And I mean, and for you to know that your wife knows this, and y'all ain't even trying to really, I mean, basically putting it in her face, and she's just supposed to accept it. I mean, enough is enough. I mean, I have my feelings on whether, I don't care if you're straight or gay. If you're gonna be together for some years, somebody on either one or the other or both are gonna step outside that relationship at some point in time. But my thing is, if you do, your queen or your king should never even know it, because it's just a matter of respect. You should never just put it in your... That's so... I mean, you can't be more lower than be that disrespectful. That you just go... You should never have phone numbers in your pocket. You shouldn't have condoms in your pocket. You shouldn't have none of that. They can't call your house. They can't do any of that. It's just a respect thing. And how he's doing it is just so disrespectful. So yeah, she bitter. And they up in therapy. And he want to go to Vegas for a bachelor party. In my head, I don't even think it's a bachelor party for real. I wouldn't even put it past him that him and Alexa trying to go away for the weekend, and he making it seem like it's a bachelor party. I don't believe nothing that Jacob said. I mean, I was like, well, I was on Jacob's side. I was like, to live with her. Because I didn't like her whole attitude, but now I understand why she got an attitude for real, because he just be doing grimy stuff. So, anyways, they in therapy, and she's like, well, look, he's still messing with this woman, and he ain't even sitting there trying to say anything, and this is the reason why I don't want him to go to that bachelor party. He said, well, it's just a bachelor party. You see what I'm talking about? I said, nigga, please shut the fuck up. I mean, just sit down somewhere. I mean, you just starting to look stupid up in here. She was the one that told you to stop going. She wanted to stop going to therapy. You was like, no, I like it. And now y'all up in there, and you in there lying. Like you got some peak game. I mean, nigga, go sit down somewhere, please. You starting to make me sick. So anyway, they go on from that, and now it spans to that phone call that Grace got. It was one of her parishioners that her son is in the hospital, and he's really, really sick. Whatever it is, he's really, really sick. So she called. She wanted the bishop to really come. The lady really wanted the bishop to come, but he was busy because he trying. Well, we get to that too. But he was busy. So Grace went, and she don't know the background because she hasn't been around. I mean, all them years. But the boy has been in. He was born after 25 weeks. And when the bishop first came to, when he was in the hospital, you could hold the baby in your hand. Now you know that baby had to be small if you could hold that baby in one hand. So the husband didn't want the baby to have to live a life of always having to be in the hospital, and really wanted to not go through all the things of trying to prolong his life, because he didn't want his son to suffer. But the bishop talked about, oh, the Lord got, something in store for him. He's going to be used like God. And the mama, because she had so many miscarriages, was trying to hold on to as much hope as she possibly could. So she keeping the baby on. So the husband was a little bitter with Grace. I mean, he was like, because the bishop said it's going to be God's will. I mean, he's sad because every week that their son is back up in the hospital for some reason or another. And not one mention hasn't been anything about cost, and I know that got to be expensive. And they ain't even worried about the cost. They worried about how much this kid is suffering. So while Grace was there, they had to get ready to do emergency surgery on the boy. So, she was like, she stayed around for a minute. And the husband explained to her, actually apologized to her. And was like, I wasn't trying to come at you like that, but, after a while, you know, we just going through so much, and I mean, my son is just in so much pain, and I didn't like how the bishop tried. I mean, because my wife was trying to hold on to every glimmer of hope, and the bishop was just trying to make it seem like everything was going to be okay, and that's where it was. So the surgery went well, and they said they got it all, and so they, you know, he just wanted to get to his boy, and so they went ahead and went to go to the recovery room, and Gracie went on home. Okay, now we get back to the bishop. Bishop is the bishop now. Now I'm gonna say, I was telling y'all, correlation between my bishop and this bishop. My bishop had money and he did things, but this bishop right here just going straight out of pocket and out of line. He's talking about from when him and Clarissa was, Lady May was talking earlier, and he said he gotta go because he wasn't dealing with Connie. Connie get over it, whatever the case may be. He said, I gotta go see a man about a jet. Now y'all remember last week where their jet keeps on breaking down because it's an old, broke down, probably fifth, 5, 6 hand jet because they were sitting there trying to be flossy on fleek, and they bought that jet and that shit was breaking down. So now he talking about, I gotta go see somebody about a jet. So the man was sitting there showing this, the pictures of this jet up in the sky and flying and inside or whatever. And they say, that jet seemed familiar. Is that Pastor such and such? He said, I can't reveal whose plane this is. He said, wait a minute, that's a hell of a plane. Now I'm thinking, if you know that this is another pastor's plane, that he's losing it because he can't make the payments anymore, that you would just say, oh, I ain't gonna have no parts of this. This nigga sit there. I didn't mean to call him that. He just sit there and said, oh, so you mean if I take over the payments, I can have that plane? He gonna sit there, he jumping on some other pastor's hardship because he said that's a hell of a plane. So he gonna get this plane. So Lady May, next thing you know, she pulls up outside Connie's house. Connie out there fake sweeping off the porch. You know what? They be getting me with this fakeness like they actually do or something. She ain't. The same leaves on there as she. Man, she wasn't sweeping. And she's like, "What? The bishop sent you?" She said, "No, Connie. It was me. And you know that man ain't going. He wouldn't sit there and do that." So she was sitting there saying, "But she said, Connie, we need you back there. We need you back there." And she said, I just feel like things are falling apart without you. So please come back." And she said, "Well, why you want me to come back?" And then they span into the house or whatever. And she said, "Look, you've been there with me since the very beginning. Since there was nothing on. Since we had dirt floors, you've been there with me. And I'm not gonna let everything fall through the cracks after I done built this thing up the way that I done built it up. And I need all my soldiers, walking. Because ever since she came back, Gigi, she don't mess with. I'm wondering if Lady May is her mother, real mother, or she's a stepmother or whatever. But from the first episode, she called her mother, but she don't. Lady May don't. She does not like Gigi at all. Period. She feels like she's the devil, like she was sent back. She said ever since she came back, has been plague after plague after plague, and she was like, "Well, she's a prophet." Connie was like, "She's a prophet," and that didn't rub with her. She said, "Look, same time, bitch. I'm sitting there trying to do my little video, and these motherfuckers, damn." Anyway, Connie said, "I ain't coming back to the church unless the bishop comes here himself." Lady May, being the bitch that she is, she walks up out there, huffs and puffs, get in the car, and calls this other deacon. I guess this is the deacon who's going to fill in because Connie left. And we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, she called him in. I mean, some other little things happen. I mean, Krista, she like I said, she in her feelings. She pretty much runs the school that they have, and this really blends in with me. Like I said, there's a correlation with my church and this show right here, because my church had a school that was K through 8, and plus they had the daycare for the younger kids too, and that was right there on the church grounds. They had little trailers set up. I mean, as far as the classrooms were concerned, a whole row of them for like the different grades and different things. So, but we had the same type of thing, and the test scores they was like giving them the practice test before for these test scores, because that's how you get your money. Is if you're getting good grades, and so the test scores were low. Now, Krista, of course, she could have came at the teachers a little bit differently. She was like, look, if you going to work here, I don't care what you got to do, but them grades got to get up. Okay? And so one of the teachers talked about, well, these tests are biased. She said, we live in the tests are biased. And she said, well, we live in a biased world. I said, and so, it is what it is. You got to do whatever you got to do so we can get these grades up. If you can't do it, then you need to, step on and move somewhere else. So, once again, you see that bitch come out in her, but you got to understand what she's going through. Because if you in love, and you being disrespected like you being disrespected, and I know a lot of people sit there and say, well, I would just leave. You don't just leave. If you in love, you love that person. Point blank, period. Bottom line. You ain't just trying to walk out on the stuff. So, so that's easier said than done. But let me tell you, now I got to tell y'all about my most favorite part of the whole show today. My most favorite, I'm telling you, my jaw just dropped all the way down to the floor. I told you that Kevin and Charity had their news or whatever. Bishop up in there rattling. First of all, it's the dinner. So I can just tell y'all what it is. It's the dinner. Where the whole family is sitting at the table and eating kumbaya, and the bishop's telling his little story. And Kevin them over there just grinning. He said, well, we got some news. And he stand up. He said, well, he get ready to give this big announcement that Charity's having twins. And the next thing you know, Carissa slammed her cell phone down on the table and said, Kevin's having an affair with Alexa. I asked him to stop, and he still won't do it. And Jacob said, did I say Kevin? Jacob is having an affair with Alexa, and I told him to stop. And so he said, Jacob, what you talking about? She said, bitch, don't even try to deny it. You text the wrong person earlier, and here's the proof. And she slid the fucking phone over there. Everybody at the table was gasping, okay? And then she sit there and went on a little rant, and then she was like, I'm sorry, what was y'all's news? So Charity said, we're having twins. Nobody could sit there and be happy because everybody was still stuck on stupid. So the fallback on that was, nobody addressed that or whatever. But the next day, Jacob goes in and he's going in to see his father because his father has to see him. He said, Lexa's not working today? He said, I fired her. And he was like, Dad, it's not like it was. He said, Jacob, don't lie. Everything that comes out your mouth is a lie, son. Everything that comes out your mouth. He said, you know what? I didn't realize you're not leadership material, so I'm gonna sit you down I'm gonna sit you down. He said, what? And how long am I gonna be set down for? He said, 90 days. He said, well, who's gonna do the discipleship? Who's gonna do Bible study? Who's gonna preach on the third Sunday? He said, we'll find somebody. He said, right now, I could find somebody 19 who just loves Jesus and can read the Bible that can do a better job right now than you, because everything that comes out your mouth is a lie. And he said, oh, it's because of Gigi, huh? He said, Gigi's trying to take my place. He said, son, you don't have no place. And of course, Jacob gonna try to act like Krista's wrong and not speak to her, and she's like, you're not gonna speak to me again. He said, yeah. Okay, y'all, this video is starting to get a little long, so I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. So Lady Mae has old Bishop who's taking over. She's starting some mess. That's all she was doing. She's starting some mess, telling him about them buying a jet, doing good and well. He gonna be like, well, we got all these financial issues. How you gonna go buy a jet? So that deacon start calling an emergency deacon board meeting. So basically, the bishop ended up having to go out to Connie and kind of just, make amends or whatever to get her back because he wants his jet. Jacob, now, once he started speaking to Clarissa again, he was sitting there saying, you were right. She said, about what? About Gigi, about Daddy, about everything. And that's all because he got set down. And that's all because he got called out. And now he trying to make it out like Gigi. Gigi ain't asking for none of this. Gigi gonna take over. His roles is everything except for preaching. She's still not ready to preach yet, but she gonna take over because that's what the daddy really wanted her to fill in his space. So what Jacob was thinking really was true because Daddy wants Gigi back up in there, but it's not happening. But this is the part I want to get to, and this is what I'm gonna use my last comments on. Kevin, and I was talking about how Kevin and old dude, the old preacher, whatever. You could already tell some vibes were going across or whatever. So Kevin on his phone, on one of them chat sites, and he sitting there flipping through men, like next, all of them black. All of them motherfucking fine, man. All of them. All of them look like candy, I would have been enlarging those motherfuckers and said, let me see more pictures of you, everything, all of them. And she's sitting there with her legs propped up on him, what's the name, and he doing that shit right there. And ain't nothing good gonna come out of this whole entire thing. It could. But because he was so obvious about it, because there ain't nothing but, first of all, that's all I know. That's all I know. Niggas that got girls, niggas that got boys. That's all I know. And they know how to motherfucking do it. But the thing is, he already got that vibe like he is. And if you don't know how to do it, and you ain't got that nigga in you to do that shit, you gonna come out. You gonna come out. Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you a story. 20 years ago, named the cop, had four kids. He gonna call me. We talking all this gooby on the phone. He get home. His fiance, who's pregnant with twins, that's not including the four that he already got. She's pregnant with twins. Those tape recorder at him with the cassette in it, then you motherfucking faggot. And he was like, what you talking? So he plays it, and he's talking, and all you hear with talking, me and him talking or whatever, all that blah 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 blah. And he calls me up and talking about, Ken, I told you to describe your voice like a girl. And I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm at work. But you know what? he cleared it up with her. He had hurt them. I mean, it was not talking about he knew she was checking on him, and he was just doing that to make her. But you got to be able to do that. But there ain't gonna be nothing good that's gonna come out of this at all. Period. Because Kevin don't have no game. I could have peeped that out. Just don't take no rocket scientist. They said, what? I mean, you already know it. It is what it is. I mean, some people just don't have it in them. Yeah, I mean, they don't have it in them. But that's just how it goes. So anyway, I'm gonna sit there and let y'all go. This video is longer than the have-nots, but I can relate to this one. I can. I'm telling you, these church folks sometimes are the worst folks, y'all. And no offense to the church folks, people out there, but y'all already know. Y'all know how y'all people are. Y'all can be just as catty and just too much. I mean, as much going on as it is. But please, y'all, like my page, please, and please subscribe. I need more people to subscribe to me so I can get better. I'm going to get them better equipment. I'm going to have the music in the background. I'm going to have the little emojis popping up. I'm going to have all that stuff later on. But just bear with me. Y'all ain't even watching me like that. Peace out. Holla.